going to be Fartist Boobcamp en español. We should have. Genial. Great. Okay. Yeah, for those of y'all just tuning in, we've got Bio here today. Bio's been an amazing artist that's been helping us out at Moku, does Moku Wednesday and weekly illustrations. And you may know a lot of her art from some like Tama meme stuff that comes through. Maybe you saw fucking like 10 Tamakins come through. And today we're going to be going through all these masterpieces and talking about how to improve them, how to make them better, because that is the goal of Fartist Boobcamp. Is we take real live artists and we talk about y'all on your journey, and we try to give you tips and tricks to get to that next tier. Okay, mi español es así, pero voy a practicar hoy. Bio es un artista que trabaja con nosotros haciendo ilustraciones. Is that right? Para Woku Weekly. Let's see. Bio says, soy de Argentina. Empecé a estudiar diseño gráfico, pero tuve que empezar a trabajar. So, Bio is from Argentina. She started studying design, but then she had to start working. Así que después de un tiempo, empecé a interesarme por estudiar publicación editorial y tratar de ilustrar libros. So, after some time, she started to get interested in studying editorial publication, and then work on illustrations for books. Para ese entonces, Edu, you can help too if I'm butchering this. Para ese entonces, and now I have a Spanish accent, so it's gonna sound weird to some of y'all. Para ese entonces enferme y básicamente no dibujé nada más. So then Bio got sick and didn't draw anymore. Hasta que mi tratamiento terminó y empecé a interesarme por el arte de nuevo. But then Bio got better, started to get better. And she started coming back to art once again. So this is a story of redemption. The comeback story! That's awesome! So are you in Argentina right now? That's where Delirium and Chunny are. So you're 4 hours ahead of West Coast in the US, 1 hour ahead of East Coast. There's gonna be... She is now in Argentina. Okay. Why am I don't need to translate that. That was in English. Cool. Awesome. So how long would you say you've been doodle-dabbling in diseño y arte? Okay, cool. Cool. Thanks, Bunny. Thanks, Bunny. I can say some ratchet stuff in Spanish. Because I know because there's Spanish speakers in here. Sometimes hago mute en mi micrófono porque tengo que tirar un pedo. Okay. You're gonna have to look that shit up. Okay. 10 years. 10 years. Awesome. Edgy does the same. Can anyone guess what I said? Okay, I'm already getting sweaty. Alright, so. So, bio. We can clearly see you're not just drawing, you are now illustrating. You're doing full covers. So that goes beyond just like one character. You've got entire worlds that you're drawing. Yeah? So, what are your goals with your art and your art journey? And what do you think is like holding you back from fulfilling this grand comeback story? Though I feel like you're doing it. No, we need. What's a great Spanish song? No problem, my smile. As always, this will be posted. The recording will be posted on YouTube. YouTube. I don't know that song. It's a song. Someone has to sing a song while Bio types. I don't think Bio's typing though. I don't see the clickety clack. Bio, ¿qué son tus goals? I don't know how to say goals. I have the vocabulary of like an 8-year-old. Okay? Metas. Oh, I've heard that before. ¿Cuáles son tus metas? Gracias, Edu. We're all learning today. Objetivos. Metas. Como tetas. Metas. Someone do something with that. Or the fart clip. So yeah, it'll be great to know your goals and what you think you're struggling with. And then we're going to jump into, I feel like, bigger picture things and then specifics. Okay? Because we want to focus on you as an artist. As an artist. Like, zoomed out. Hi, Mama! Estamos hablando en español. Metas are like goals. They're like tetas.
I missed the English.
You missed the English? No, too bad.
What did you say?
Oh, sorry. I was asking Bio what her goals and what she thinks is holding her back from getting to that next level. And I was trying to say it in Spanish, and I learned today that goals are metas. Like tetas. Tetas are boobies. Also, Bio went to school for design. She started to go to school for design, but then she had to leave because she had to work. And she was still drawing on the side. She was like doing illustrations for publications and editorial stuff and like books. But then she got sick. And then she got better. And now she's drawing again. And that's that's her story at the moment. Okay. Bio says, oh, I don't know. I think that I love what I do and drawing in general. I feel guilty sometimes to charge for them. In terms of art, I think I should improve on composition and goal to have my own webtoon. Okay. Okay. There's a lot there. Number one, you feel guilty that you charge money for them. Okay. That feeling that you have, all of you, and the idea of charging money for doing art, I want you to take that feeling and I want you to just throw that in the trash. Just get rid of it. Useless. Oh my, hey, thanks feeling. Useless. I don't need you anymore, okay? In the trash. You are providing a service. You are giving your time. And it should cost money. I really, sweet artists, we are such sensitive babies who, like, I feel like need compliments, need validation, and I think have a hard time of, like, feeling, I don't know, confident in what we bring to the table. But what we do takes a lot of time, as you've been seeing in these classes. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of studying, and that's why it costs money, because it's a skill that you're polishing. So when you do feel guilty, I think what helps is you can, one, let me exist in your brain rent-free, saying throw that in the trash. Or you reach out to other people, other friends, other artists. You can reach out to me and say, hey, this person wants me to do this thing. I don't know how much to charge, or I feel bad about it. And I will be your friend that says, fucking don't do that. Throw that feeling in the trash. Make that money, girl. That's what it takes. That is actually what helped me. I felt really bad about raising my rate until my friends jumped out of their seats when I told them how much I was charging. And they were like, you do way too much to be charging that. Anyway, and you want to improve, you think you should improve on composition. Your goal is to have your own webtoon. Okay. Awesome. Oh, also, my smile, my first community NFT was selected on WoW 3 Chica Collection. I am so happy. Hell yeah! Hell yeah! My smile. Let's just take a break right now. Let's just go on this. Woo! 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 Doing your thing. Let's hype everybody up. Let's go! Fuck yeah! Okay. So, awesome. Thank you so much, Bio! Muchísimas gracias! Okay, so let's get into it, because it's already like 20 minutes in. Alright, yeah. I think there are all the things that I and Momo have been seeing with your art are things that are learnable and you can definitely improve on. So first off the bat, I will say, like, I think it's easy to say, and a lot of people know this, but you're a very talented artist. You're very great at what you do. You do a lot of incredible things. You have a great sense of humor. So, like, just want to start off saying, like, Bio, you're awesome. Keep going. Yeah. Okay, before we get into it, all right? Because a lot of us artists, we started making art because we drew something one time and someone said it was really cool, and we were like, I want to feel that again. Momo wants to compliment the storytelling and creative ideas. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. So, the way I approach illustrations in general is now it's kind of built into my head, but I will always consider these like top level things. One is like a clear focal point that like we know where to look in an illustration. There is visual flow and direction, because what happens in an illustration is your eye will like move around a piece. There's more happening than just one character, but you have to kind of be, nope, not kind of, you have to be deliberate about where you want your audience's eyeballs moving. There is balance and weight to a piece. There's paying attention to colors and values. And basically, when you zoom out, roll big, or if you squint your eyes, you need an illustration to read fast because people are scrolling. People got short attention spans. You want to be able to do the job quickly. Pyom. Exactly. All right. So, anyone feel free at any point to say like, can you talk more about that thing? Or, yeah, or like slow down or anything like that. Anyway, so, where should we start? Let's start here. Let me make sure I've got this framed up. I wish I could move my little Figma doo-doo out of the way. Okay. Woku Weekly. First things first. We talked about you don't have to actually do the illustration quickly. Like, you don't have to do the job quickly. But the job that you set out to do has to meet its goal quickly. So if your goal is like, I want people to look at this illustration and be like, look here, and be stoked about like markets going up. Like that has to happen quick, but you take a long time to do something that feels very easy. Anyway, okay, so this one has a lot going on. It has a lot going on. And what I mean by that is that, like, basically, the first thing I said is when you have an illustration, you want people to know where to look right away. You do have this big glaring green thing, right? And you have characters' eyes looking up at it. However, I would say that a lot of the things all over the screen are demanding the same kind of attention. The same kind of attention. There's so much going on that I look at the green really quickly, but then my eyes go like fucking, I pointed at my screen just now. That is what I did. I thought that was a smart idea. Here's my mouse. Here's my tablet. Okay, so my eye goes here, and then it kind of goes to this rat, and then it goes down here, and then I kind of look at this pigeon, and then I'm kind of like, wow, there's like all this stuff going on up here, and like, oh, that's a tangent, that bothers me. Why is this? Oh, but look at this plug. Is that a butthole? Where did it go over here? That, you want people to look around your illustration and like explore, but in their own pace if they want to do that thing. It's a hard, also I want to be honest with y'all, like Momo and I are kind of looking at this fresh. We didn't like big time prepare to go into this, simply because we didn't have the bandwidth, but also I want you guys to hear what the process is like when we're looking at something and we're trying to figure out why it's not working. Because we might start pulling up references and be like, oh, well, why does this bother me? Why does this bother me? And the goal is that you can do that in your own time. When you hear other people dissecting your work, you'll start to pay attention to what they like point out frequently. And then you get ahead of doing that stuff enough times. When you start working professionally as an artist, you might work at a company and there's like one director. And they'll probably always say like, you're fucking tangents, right? They'll do tangents. So much so that you'll get really good at looking out for tangents. But then you work at a different place where someone's like, no, actually, that won't be everywhere. It's not only if it was me. You might work somewhere else where the person is like, this shit's too busy. It's way too busy. It's busy. There's stuff going on all over the place. And you might learn to like simplify it. But the point is, everyone has specific things that they will look out for. And as you start to learn about that, you'll start applying it to your own work. And then you will also start to like look out for your own stuff. And it just adds. I've worked under many different directors, and I haven't agreed with all of them, but I feel like they've all made me stronger. Because when you work professionally, you're not doing your own art, you're doing art for someone else. So, Momo's too soft. Okay, so let's see. Let's start with the busyness. No, I don't know where to start. Sometimes when I don't know where to start, I will just go straight to like what I can speak to now. So same with art. If I don't know where to start on an illustration or a project, I'll just grab the lowest hanging fruit. I'll just be like, well, I know this is wrong. And then you just kind of keep going from there. So one of the things is the mechanical nature of some stuff. So what I mean by that is that, like, it feels like some things are being drawn without, like, really understanding what that thing is or paying attention to how it exists in the real world. So what I mean by that is, like, these tubes, for example, they are mechanical or they are made of a certain material, but I would assume that it should be consistent thickness across the whole thing. Right now it's like tapering. It's like going like this, and if this were to continue something like that, yeah. But you want it to be consistent. This is a tangent. I'm gonna point them out as I see them. There should be a different color. What color should I use for tangents? Maybe I'll put a little. Girl, I'm gonna break your heart. I'm gonna break your heart today. Tangent.
Wait, but then we can't see it.
Oh. Okay, good point. This. Like, this is perfectly lining up with this button. Ugh! Hurts my soul. So, again, this should be more consistent. Especially because we're looking at it, like, pretty head on. Another thing that's kind of bugging me here is that if this were to continue the way it is, like, we would see it back here. Unless it were to bend, but because we can't see that bend, it feels weird to me. I would recommend, I would actually, like, recommend grabbing something like that and going like this or something. Because another thing that is happening, dear bio, is this I will consider a tangent. Like the bottom of the W with the top of the screen. Tangent. Okay, mechanical stuff. Let's see. Another thing is there's these buttons. Yes? These buttons exist. But there isn't, like, first of all, a button will fall into a hole. A button will fall into a hole. So there should be, like, a divot of where that is. What is strange to me right now is there's, like, this bar happening right here. This is a thing that I really want you to pay attention to, bio, and, like, look for it in other places. There are moments when there are things that are resolved that, like, doesn't make sense, it was simplified in a way that feels low effort, but it's actually calling attention in a way that isn't good. So right now I see like, okay, there's buttons. The buttons aren't recessed. They look like they're just like sitting on top of something. Like there's a difference between, here's a button. Boom, boom, boom. There's a button that's just like sitting on top of a table.
It's not showing.
Oh, poop!
To the right.
Thank you. That's just like sitting on a table. Right? And there's a button that's like set in. To the table. Meaning there's kind of a lip here under it. It's hard to see with how fat my pen is right now, but like take a look at your keyboard. There's holes where the keys go into. The keys don't just sit on top of that box. You know what I'm saying? ¿Me entiendes? So, these buttons look like they're kind of just sitting on top. Then there's this bar here, right? Here, there's a bar. It kind of looks like it's sitting on top, but then you've got line work from the button that's going in front of that. And then you've got a mouse that's here. But if the bar ends here, but also there's other lines here. Is the mouse hanging off the table? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's moments where it's like, wait, what? Huh? Why? Is this and this the same desk? What's happening? ¿Qué pasa? So in moments like that, especially like this is behind them. This doesn't need to be super complicated. We don't want to be looking here. This is not an important area. It can be simplified, but it should be simplified in a way where things aren't hanging off the table. So like this could just be the edge of the table. Yes, I mean I would bring it out more because the mouse should lay on there. But it could just be that. You don't need to have holes here. I would just simplify it. Simplify it. Another thing. So, like I'm looking at this rim around the TV. I have questions. To me, this reads like this is metal, right? And then this black thing around it, because there's lines like this, it almost looks like this like soft, like black rubber trim. But I don't think it's supposed to be that. You know what I'm saying? So these kinds of lines, not helping for the material that it is. I believe this is supposed to be metal, the black part. We'll get to this, but I would say like the shading of this isn't making it feel shiny. It's making it feel more like cloth. And I feel like it's from the highlights. One could say that it's also maybe coming from the texture you've added, but in general, it feels like it's plastic, it should have a hard edge. So the shading on there doesn't make it feel like it's super metal. But another thing is that, like, if this is the edge, I wish my mouse wasn't, or my thing wasn't so thick. And then this is the edge. There's going to be some kind of like lip around that frame where things come out on. So like if you were looking at the screen from the side and the metal part, this part was like pulled out a little bit, it would be sharper like this, right? It wouldn't be what it looks like now, like a soft thing. Correct? And so you would want to make sure if you have buttons on something like that, which is questionable, I think I would have just made this entire piece like a chunky, this same material, like just made it this all the way around. But if you were to do something like this, the way you have it, you know, something, if you're gonna have buttons on top of it, then there needs to be an area that's flat, and it needs to be flat all the way around. What I'm pointing out is that you have, according to the, and like let me know if this is, I don't know if I'm going too complicated with this, but I would imagine because the highlight is starting here, because it's happening here, I would imagine that highlight is like this part, right? And then where the buttons are should be on this part. But the button here is kind of falling in a place where it's on the highlight. So it almost feels like if you were to have, again, that like curved edge up front, that there's a button that's falling on it like this. As opposed to like down here where it's going to be laying flat. So what I'm saying is when you're doing something super mechanical like this, which is why I don't like fucking drawing mechanical shit, you want to make sure there is like this area, if there's a curve, that like will not be touched by something that has to lay flat on it. So you want all of these pieces to lay in a similar world, and they should all be centered on it. As opposed to like this being kind of high up, this kind of being lower, this one being higher, this one being lower. Like they should all be centered, because something mechanical like that is being like made a mold out of. It's very perfect. It will be more centered. Momo brought up references help a lot, even if it's not real. It's a good thing to pay attention to. That might have been a lot for y'all, so I want to bring this back to a more digestible place. So I want to actually talk about line width, lines, tangent. I would call this a tangent. Because some of these are drawn with lines and without lines. No, you can still make tangents even if you don't have lines. I almost like, let's find one. Look. Very close, right here. This is like lining up with this. It could just be offset. Just a smidge! It would have been great. You're doing great, Mario. We're doing this because you're at a level where you can get more advanced feedback. You have the ability to murder those tangents. You are going to be a tangent perfect. What tangents? I don't have tangents. I've never had tangents. That's what you're gonna say. Okay. All right. So let's talk about line width. This is something that we've seen a lot in your work that that I think if you worked on it, it could really help your pieces feel more organic. So more organic, more character. More character. So there's a lot of things going on with your lines. One of the things I would say is I can feel you like hitting shift in Photoshop if you're using Photoshop and you're making a perfectly straight line. And let's see, like here, there's perfectly straight lines and then there's organic lines. Potentially, I think our last class was a tangent class. No, 2 classes before was a tangent class. Here, perfectly straight lines. Perfect. Perfectly. Wow. Perfectly straight lines. And I'm not saying wow in a good way. But you are using straight lines, yes? Straight lines, straight lines, straight lines. See how straight these are? See how you're going like this? See how you're going like this? See how you're going like this? It's good for figuring out where stuff needs to go. But what then feels very strange is that you'll have them next to, oh, yeah, that's where you like, sorry, Procreate isn't you hit shift, you get like, you hold the button. I don't use Procreate that much. Yeah, you can use it, but I would say use it as a guide. Don't use it as your final line. Why? Why would you not do that? Because you're also pairing it with more organic lines, and so those straight lines stand out a lot, and they don't make your piece cohesive. They make it feel like suddenly there's a ruler, there's a perfect computer line, and then there's like a line drawn with a hand. And you don't want that. You want it all to feel organic. So even if your line isn't a little perfect, like let's just show an example of this, I guess. Actually, we have a really great example of this from Milky. Check it out. I'll show you. Let's see. Okay, so this is when we had JC helping out. And look at these perfect lines. Very straight. Very, very straight. Yes? One could say he held down shift or did the clicky thing on Procreate because it's a thing with straight lines. It's not a character. It would totally make sense. Yes? You see this? Everyone looking? Okay. But now look at this one, dude. Let's compare. Sorry. Look at this one, dude. Look at this one. Do you see how this one on the right is just so much more interesting? It has character. It feels so nice. So organic. Looks like a person drew it. I don't even, there's part of me that's like, I couldn't tell you why, but I just like it. It's so satisfying. And I would say, when you're doing these other lines, there are like tangents that are happening for free. Because you're just kind of like going through the motions. Let me show you. But then if you draw over those lines, and that's what happened, JC then drew directly on top of these lines and he used the straight lines as a guide. we were able to take out tangents, killing dos pájaros con una roca. Okay? There is a situation. Oh my God, that was a fat marker, bruh. Okay. There was. That's too small. These lines are coming together and they are sharp, sharp babies. Bother the shit out of me, let me tell you. This, meeting together up here, disgusting. Kill it with fire. But then, if you look over here, like, because it's an organic line, we're getting things for free. Things are chunkier, and we have to make room. This is important. Because we are using a consistent line, and it's not getting thinner over here and then fatter over here. Yes, use those clean guides as a line and draw over them. Ooh, I'm so excited for your next drawings bio. So excited. Okay, like, look over here. There is a certain line thickness to this ball. You know what? I feel like we could talk about this for hours, and we only got, 35 minutes left. This is great. This is great. Okay, do you see how this ball has, like, a lot of thickness? And then over here, these lines are thinner. This is a good thing, you guys. This is a good thing. Okay, the line thickness, right? It's different in all these places. And there's like, there isn't a necessary, it doesn't feel consistent. Like, it's happening in different places across it. But over here, we've decided we're going to stick with this one line thickness. Because we've made that decisions, we have to make more decisions about how these lines are going to come together. So previously, there's this line coming here, and then this other line suddenly getting thin. First of all, it shouldn't be doing that. It should have been consistently going down across because it is the thickness of a brick. It's not things coming together. And so now when we draw that, like, it can't come together in a point. It has to remain the same thickness. So it has to end up here and just end. They're not Lizzie tangents. Listen to me, okay? Escucha. When you go out into the real world, if you start drawing tangents for professional companies, they're going to think you're a fool. And I don't want you to look like a fool, okay? I hurt you here so you won't hurt in the real world. I sound like a real mom. I'm like, I'll call you fat so other people don't call you fat. And then you're like, just don't call me fat, Mom. Just don't call me fat. This is different. My mom called me a jamona. That means, jamon means pork. It means ham. So that translates to porker. Da, 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 da. Okay, back to lines. Edgy, my mom called me last week. I'm not, yeah, we should all just be trash. Uggo. Or we're all gonna start dumping on what all of our loved ones have called us now. This is a safe space. Okay. Egu. Uggo. Ego. Yucko. Fego. Ego. Feo. Blobfish. Emotional damage. I don't need to do that when I can do it right here. Emotional damage. Okay, so this should have illustrated the point of like, don't use those lines as the real-time lines. Just use them as guides. Okay. Line consistency, baby. I said we didn't prep for this class, but we do have a decent amount to get through, and we're on the first point. Just saying. Maybe this is great though, because we can kind of keep going like the next class if you're down. Maybe. We'll see. That would be amazing. Okay, line consistency. So here we've got these line. Let's point out all the different line thicknesses, shall we? Hey, Bio, thanks for doing this. So, we got this bad boy. That's not a good color. We got this bad boy. That's the thick boy. Then we got this thickness. I would say less thick than that bad boy. We got these little hairs over here. That's very thin. We got this thickness. That's thinner than that thickness. Wait, what is this? Here's a line. Just a hair. We got some lines over here. Okay, and I would say, if you were to zoom out, they're like all in the same place. You know what I'm saying? Usually, if you want to alter your line thickness, you can use it to pull or push attention to certain areas. Like areas that are more detailed, you might want thinner lines so you can add more stuff. Or if you want stuff to call more attention, you have thicker lines. But I would say, like all things, you want to be very deliberate about why you're choosing the lines. Just because you want to shove something in there because it's more detailed is not a reason to do thinner lines. Everything needs to serve the purpose of getting your people's eyeballs to where you want them to go. Because you have so much line variation over here, this is calling a lot of attention. And maybe, sneaky Bio, you were just like, look at my name, bitch, look at my name. But that is not the goal. That's not what you want to do. Let's look at other examples. There's not a lot of line. This is an example of, it was a Momo illustration, and then Bio added more rats to it. And the issues that are happening is we've got this line thickness, and it's already been established by Momo. It is everywhere in the frame. There are no other areas where it gets any thinner. However, you can tell where Bio added stuff for a number of reasons, but one of the big reasons is the line work. Hey, if you can get feedback and be like, not take it personally, don't see this as like, wow, I suck as an artist, but like, oh, okay, I see. I will get better at that. That is like what will make you a really great artist. So like, welcome feedback and be like, fuck yeah. Every time someone's like, wow, that's wrong or something, be like, yes, that means you're getting closer to becoming better. Hell yeah, I'm really glad. Yay. So this is the line thickness, right? Suddenly you got all of this line thickness over here. You've got the eyes are a different situation. The tail is thick on one side, thin on the other. Girl, what? And then their hands over here. And I'm like, how come? How come it's that thickness here? How come it's that thickness there? I've got a feeling that the answer was like the other one. It was, well, I wanted to get these details in. Yes, Edu! It should be thick everywhere. Or maybe you choose not to have lines because the line is so much that like you wouldn't have a detail. Or you leave out some details. Yeah, like for the rat, to simplify that, like maybe you just had that and you have to simplify it like that. Because you just can't fit in those details using a consistent line without it getting fucking like muddy, nub, mess, doo-doo. I would say that, ow. I hate that. I hate that so much. It's worse than a tangent. It's like a tangent on top of the tangent. I hate it. What a mess. Okay. Wow. Bio says, wow, yes, there are things I couldn't see before, like the lines. I hadn't noticed the lines. Exactly. Isn't that exciting? The hope for all of y'all is that you will look at old pieces of art and you'll vomit on top of yourself. I'm just kidding. You'll go, oh, sweet, sweet baby me. I didn't know back then. But that means that you're growing. Like, I look at a film I did that did like so well from my thesis film. It got like an Academy Award, and I'm able to look at it now and be like, that shit is trash. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that I, like, you know, like 14, 15 years later, that I can be like, that shit's trash. If I was like, yep, that's the best I can do, that's a problem. That's a problem. Time has passed. You should be getting better. And you can get better like every single day. That's the hope. So, line thicknesses. Yes. And that will answer questions for you of like, I can't include that detail. Or you have to think of creative solves of like, how do I show an angry partner if I only have this line thickness? Okay? Artists are problem solvers. But you have to do it in interesting ways. It's usually not straightforward, and the thing with art is that it isn't like a formula. It isn't code where it's like it won't work if it doesn't have the right answer. There's a million different answers. And it's up to you to find one that works. So, line thickness. Yes. That's also over here. I see that you decided this detail, I'm burping. Sorry. This detail is too small. If I were to use line thickness, you wouldn't see the ticket. So you were just like, I'll just fucking get rid of the line then. But I would urge you to kind of look around the rest of the illustration and see how were small details resolved in the past. Because I don't think there's anything that just like doesn't have an outline like that. So maybe it should just be a color. This is more specific to like if you take a drawing from someone else and you contribute to it. But I would say like that happens a lot. That happens a lot when you're working in a team. Anyway, line thickness, inconsistencies. Here. Like, okay, I think that happened a couple times where like there's teeth down here, right? You didn't use the line thickness that Momo had established. So there's kind of these like two dots here. And then these are, is this a mustache? What's happening here? Nostril hairs? Very strong. Like you could fucking take people out, dude. Take people out. Whiskers. Hairsprayed nostril hairs. Nose piercing. Bio, what is it? Bio, ¿qué son estos? Por favor. What is it? Un aro de nariz. It is a piercing. Aro? What's an aro? It's a nose piercing? Nose ring. Ah, I learned metas and aro today. A septum. Oh! Okay. So if I were you, I would look at this and I would be like, you would have to decide, like, can I fit this detail? So here's the thing. Some people could look at this detail and the lines and think, what's the big idea? What's the problem? I like that there's a nose ring, even if it doesn't match the whole rule of line thickness. I like it. I'm gonna do it.
Yay.
Yes. I would encourage you to look at other artists that you admire and start looking at their lines.
Well,
And
because
is someone talking? Do I have to meet them? Bunny! Yes, take a look at other people's lines. Sometimes you might like certain artists just because of their line work. Momo said, some questions you can ask. Is it readable? Does it help the goal of the piece? Yeah, because like you might really want to squeeze in this detail, but I would say not at the cost of it standing out and it not making sense or reading with the rest of the piece. So I could like look at this piece right here. Oh no! Okay, I thought my whole computer froze. I could look at this piece right now, and I don't think I'm the only one, and I can point out what was contributed that wasn't the original artist. Because the line work is different. Yeah, some of these things that we're like telling y'all about, like, they will become second nature to you. This stands out to me. If it's a character specific detail, should I make it bigger, remove it, for example? So up here, Momo, correct me if I'm wrong. I read this as like the hint of a nose and a tooth. So I feel like if I were you, I would have just like added maybe the shadow, or just don't do it.
yeah, that part I think is just the nose, but I also did this very messily, so. But yeah, I didn't. Ideally, like I did not include any teeth for any of the rats.
Yeah.
Because of the thickness of the line that was chosen.
Exactly.
It's kind of like messy-ish look, but that's not like an unreadable messy.
So that was a choice that Momo made to not put in the teeth because it was too small of a detail. And then you can see all around here, there are things that are mechanical and have straight lines, but they aren't perfect. And that is also to represent, like, when we're drawing, like, freehand, we're going to, like, lift. When we draw a circle, we usually don't, like, do this perfectly. We might, like, we'll lift our pencil. And that's why it's nice sometimes to just like break up that line and not have it be perfect. It's what adds to it feeling nice and organic and all part of the same thing. So this is a really great example of line thickness. This is an example too. I want to kind of call back to this. There are moments where like, I'm not going to get into shading yet. But like there is line thickness going on here. These are different amounts of thickness. And then like there's moments where the line kind of gets like there's this weird swipe here, or like it like it's thick on this top part, but then it's thinner on this part. This it's like I think this bugs me that like it's one thickness here, then it gets thin right here, if you can see that, and then it tapers. Tapers is when it goes like fat to thin, then it tapers here, but then there's a line over like going past this area here. But this moment where it like goes over a lot, it doesn't seem like it happens in a consistent way. It seems like it happens by accident. Like here's also a moment that like it doesn't feel like it was on purpose. It feels like it was by accident. And so rule of thumb, just like if you can't fit that detail, don't, or simplify it. I would even say with something like this plate, like the fact that there's this one line here and then this other line here and they're super tight together, it's like it's too busy, especially because it's a thick black line. But then you also have a line here, which is confusing. I would say like just like kill this inner line, like don't need it. Just clean it up. You know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? So yeah, today we're just focused on lines, but I think it's good. I think it could make a really big difference for you, bio, and for a lot of y'all, because I know a lot of y'all also look up to bio and want to get to the level of bio. So you can also see that there's stuff that bio needs to work on. Doesn't need to, but could work on, I think would make it stronger. And those are things that you can work on too. So like these are also moments where there's things that kind of like run out. The line is not consistent. Yeah, it's like super thick here, then it's thin here. I would really love y'all to like start paying attention to this stuff. Also, if you look up other artists that you like, feel free to share it in the Fartist, in the Moki Fartist channel, and we can just kind of like look at that stuff together. This is another example of line thickness issues. Here it's like really thick in this moment, but then it gets really thin down here. Then like there's really fine details on the eye. And you can make decisions where the inside gets thinner and the outside is thicker. But what I'm trying to really like drill in here is that like stick to those rules. It should be consistent. It should be consistent. This session is info filled. I would have hate to miss it today. Oh my gosh. I'm really glad that this is helpful. Let's see other moments. I feel like you get what I'm saying about the lines. Yeah? Yeah? Did anyone else have questions on the lines? Because there's like 15 minutes left. I was actually thinking, now this is kind of just like an open conversation. There's still a lot that I would love to talk through for bio's work that I think could help bio a lot and would help the rest of y'all a lot because we have really good examples to pull from. You know what I mean? So if y'all are, I'm wondering, I'm putting this on the table. Do you want to kind of continue down this route of like, we have these real life illustrations. Let's like keep, this kind of like your graduate class bio. This is like, we're giving you like personalized feedback. And what's exciting is that like, you know, you're still working on Woku one weekly illustrations. We can start to, we're going to be able, I want to be able to see like a piece months from now compared to like, you know, these. And then we can talk about what's working, what you ended up improving, what you're still struggling with, blah, blah, blah. But we have a lot of different stuff to talk on. This class was just like, just lines, honestly. Just lines. Yeah, some people go pay for university to get this and they might not even do that. We charge showing up and participating. And we can keep doing this. Yeah, honestly, it helps me a lot. To be very open and frank, I was getting nervous about like how much the lectures were taking me to do, and shit's getting real hot over at Moku where we're working on like big things that take a lot of work and a lot of time. So I was considering like maybe we should stop Fartist Boobcamp for a little bit. But if we go down this route, I think we can continue it, and it sounds like it's way more helpful to y'all. Does that sound accurate? Exactly. I expect most people that are showing up to these don't have an art background. They don't have like you know, like college education for it. So, and that is a privilege not a lot of people have, and I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit that people don't, that like, yeah, I think everyone should have access to these skills and learning these skills. So that's why we're doing this. And maybe we even do a version in Spanish at some point. I would love to practice it. Yeah, Bio, thank you so much for like letting us do this. I know it's really scary, but you are a badass for letting us do this, and I'm very proud of you. And like, by putting your stuff out there and be willing to getting critique, like you are going to grow so much faster. So like, you should be proud of yourself. Mommies are proud. Everyone else is like really gaining a lot from it too, it seems like. So it's really cool. It's really cool that we can all learn together. Yeah, you're able to like kick out so much super quick and like totally understand how it can be tricky to be more on top of some of these things when you have like tight deadlines. But some of the things could also help you in your decision making. So just for the lines, like encouraging you to like simplify your stuff and just keep it all the same thickness might help you be like, nope, that's like, you'll focus your time on the things that matter. So look for line thickness, consistency. Don't be perfect with your lines. You're gonna get better at tangents. Yes, you are. Yeah, and further down the line, I want to then help y'all, like, I want to see portfolios, and I will, like, give them feedback and tell you, like, how to make it stronger, what people that are hiring are looking for, and that kind of stuff. But first, I feel like we really need to work on art fundamentals with where the crew is at. Because it is a very competitive field, art. So you want to get those skills top. But you can totally do it without a college education. I know a lot of people that are working professionals that are self-taught or they learned online. McDonald Duck. I honestly admired Bio's art a lot, but I didn't know there was a lot of improvement for it. Bio is my master, and I will learn from her improvement from now on. Hell yeah. But that's to show that, like, everyone is still learning. I'm still learning so much shit. I can feel so, like, blah behind and stuff when it comes to art. Especially 2D art. Like, I feel like I'm a doo-doo dummy, and, like, Momo is incredible. But learning this stuff and talking about this stuff, like, just will, it kind of just keeps adding. Adding. Yeah. We have a couple more minutes. So we can just doodle. Or, woo! Or just keep talking. Just keep. Want to look for tangents? Oh, we could just, like, let's do it. Let's do it! Come on. Wait, not that one. I should pick another one. Let's do this one. This probably has... You think this one? Momo? I didn't even... Yeah.
What's happening?
Yeah.
Just pick something with detail.
Should I add a new thingy? How do I add one?
I think you just paste it in. Like, Command V.
Oh. Okay, sorry that I dumped this on y'all's drawings. Alright, make a new layer, babies, and start circling those tangents. Eeeeee! Post-tangent stress disorder. Bye, bunny! Thanks for coming. Oh, you're fine. Don't worry about the interruption. You're good. Alright, I'm not gonna point anything out. I'm gonna let y'all start. But I see them. I see them. They're out to play. Yay. Find those tangents!
Should I paste link of them?
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I think there's like 3 people on the board. Nice.
Good night, McDuck. I guess I'll just like kind of talk over this. I want to talk about composition, stronger compositions. I want to talk about lighting and shading. I want to talk about value, contrast, and color. No. Contrast, Yes. Contrast, saturation, value. And if like things come up for you, bio, if things come up like as you're doing stuff and you're like, hey, tell me more about this, you know, feel free to share. Oh my gosh, I forgot to say, yes, Bean. Shout out to all the Fartists that entered Create Atomic in contest. Who here contributed? We know Bio did 1 million. Overachiever. I know Sweet Potato did, and Fabled. And My Smile. And Joey. There were so many. They were so good. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Good. 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 These are great. Y'all are finding them. And sometimes, like, it's so interesting. I feel like after talking about lines, you know, like, by simplifying, hey, by simplifying, I think you're already going to get rid of so many tangents. So it's good. It's good. It's good. I feel like I've scared y'all into making tangents. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. I will point this out because it's specific to like a magazine cover. But I think I've noticed a lot of tangents actually with the title. So there's a lot of times I will see things like perfectly lining up with the bottom of the W, and look at how this frame falls perfectly here. Ah! I hate it. I don't like it. I would call that a big fat tangent, a big tangent, girl. So, You're great. You're great. It's okay. We're all learning. But also, Actually, I'm curious. Oh my gosh. I'm doing it. I'm gonna go through all the titles. Tangent. Like the gray part kind of is like perfectly, it's like pretty lined up with this. You're safe. You're safe here. Good job. Unless you put a mushroom that went right up here, then I would have been crying. But this one's successful. The edge of this lining up with the text. We'll talk about text separately too, but that's an issue. I'm looking at text now. It's fun. It's fun. It's fun until it's not. Okay. It's 9:30. It is the end of our class here. I think that was the end of the tangent mess, sort of. But I think I'm sorry. Sweet Potato, I've like given you so much trauma just in this room. Okay, that was it though. That was a great class. I felt very, very useful. The homework the homework is like, I think if you come across artwork with like good lines, let's just all like stare at lines, like share them. Let's talk about them. Let's talk about like why they're cool, why they're good. Or maybe you're gonna go back out into the world and you're gonna start paying attention to lines and you're gonna be like, wait, what? Look at that line. Look at that line. Look at that line. Line. You're just gonna look at stuff differently. That's the fun part of being an artist. You see the world differently. But right now you're gonna be very focused on lines and tangents. Okay. Thanks everybody. It was a fun time. Until next time, 2 weeks. We're gonna keep just having bio here for the slaughter. But you're gonna come out of this like so fucking strong, girl. Thank you, bio. Thanks everybody. Thank you for coming. Yeah. I'm trash, you're trash, we're all trash. Woo, woo, woo! Okay, thanks. Okay. And for everyone watching this after, thank you. And like this all applies to y'all. Okay, bye.